Quick story time. Because it's hot outside, I wanted to be able to tell you guys about the time I almost died. Yeah, I'm not even over exaggerating. I probably could have died. Well, to give you context, I started working out probably 2 years ago or so. And so when I started working out, like I was just trying to be able to build that muscle mass, you feel me? And so I was doing all the stuff. I was trying to make sure, I took some creatine. I was doing pre-workout and all that type of stuff, And so I was doing all that. But here's the thing, okay? Sometimes pre-workout can make you have the runs, and that was the case for me. And so it ended up making me have the runs, and then I ended up feeling like, oh man, maybe I'm sick. And so then I went to sleep, and I made sure that I covered myself up because I was feeling cold and all that type of stuff. Well, what had happened was I had sweated a lot. Then after sweating a lot, then I went to the bathroom and I threw up. And then before I knew it, I was waking up in a pile of my throw up because I had passed out. And yeah, that was the thing. And then I like get just enough energy to be able to call the ambulance and get some clean clothes on because, like I said, I puke all over me, so it was terrible. Then after I do all that and after I get that cleaned up, get something new, the ambulance gets there, and then I'm having all these involuntary muscle spasms. It was the worst thing possible. Get there to the hospital, they try to do all this stuff on me to be able to test like whether I have seizures or whatever. What they'd end up figuring out was because I was so severely dehydrated, I actually that was why I had all these problems. That's why I passed out. That's why all these terrible things that was happening. And so because of all that, I ended up almost dying. And so then they had to be able to put me on this saline solution and stuff like that to be able to try to bring my hydration back. And I say all this to say this, okay? It's getting hot outside. Your boy's sweating just talking to you guys. And so make sure that you guys stay hydrated because hydration is important, okay? Because, yeah, I don't ever want to go through that again. I had legitimately thought, I said, this might be the end. I was like over here thinking through. I was like, you know what? I lived a good life. Like I thought I was gonna die. So just make sure that you guys stay hydrated. I know you guys might be like, oh, I drink too much water. Nah, you probably are not drinking enough water and you need to get electrolytes too. So do all that stuff.